Safety alerts. Chart objects are identified by the ECDIS as dangers to navigation by certain parameters, such as safety parameters. Example, safety contour. Alert settings and options are adjusted in the Safety Alerts page of the monitoring panel. The main means of determining the safety alerts operation is the safety frame. Dangerous objects entering the safety frame will generate a relevant alert. Generation of safety alerts. Safety alerts are generated for the following chart objects. Dangers to navigation. If Nav Hazard radio button is activated, the Navigational Hazard Caution will be generated. If Highlight Danger radio button is activated, the navigation danger will be highlighted on the chart. Safety contours. If the Safety Contour radio button is activated, the Crossing Safety Contour alarm will be generated. Area Type Objects. If activated under the Area Alerts group, divided to IMO areas and additional areas. Navigational Alert. Navigational alerts are intended for alerting the navigator to the change of ownership and chart information display conditions. If the user set value of difference between the positioning system readings is exceeded, provided the primary-secondary diverged radio button is activated, the Position Monitor Caution is generated. Navigational Alert. Sounder Depth. Sounder depth is a set minimum depth which the sounder depth alarm will be generated if a shallower depth is received from the sounder. Navigational Alert. Anchor Watch. A warning will be generated if the ship moves beyond the anchor rings. See Topic 915, Anchoring Display, for the details. Route alerts. Route alerts are generated during sailing if the ship has exceeded the boundary of a set limit. The alert is generated according to the following principles. If the ship's course over ground deviates from the plotted ship's course by a value exceeding the setting in the off-leg course input window, the course difference caution will be generated. If the ship's deviation from the route leg exceeds the set value, the off-track alarm will be generated. If the ship's schedule is not observed, ahead the schedule or behind the schedule warning will be generated. As the ship approaches the next waypoint, the Approach to Critical Point warning will be generated upon approach to the wheel over line at the advance time or distance set by the user. As the ship passes the last waypoint on the monitored route, the End of Track warning is generated. The aforementioned alerts are enabled and their parameters are set on the route monitoring page of Monitoring Panel. Sensor alerts. Position sensor. Sensor alerts indicate an absence of data from external sensors. Sensor alerts will only be generated if data is absent from a connected sensor which has been selected by the user as a data source. Example of position sensor alerts: warnings for a position sensor selected for primary positioning and cautions for a position sensor selected for secondary positioning. If there's more than one of such warnings or cautions, they're combined in a position failure group. Position, no input. Position, course over ground, speed over ground, no data. Sensor alerts, main sensor. Warnings are generated for sensors which have been selected as the main sensor. If there are more than one of such warnings, they're combined into a sensor failure group. Example: gyro, no data. Gyro, no input. Sensor alerts, backup sensors. Cautions are generated for sensors which have been selected for as supplementary position sensor. If there are more than one of such cautions, they're combined in an auxiliary sensor failure group. Example: position, course over ground, speed over ground, no data. Position, no input. Sensor alerts, auxiliary sensors. Cautions are generated for the auxiliary sensors which are not directly related to the navigation. Example: wind, no input. Sensor alerts, fallback. Should the primary data source fail, the backup data source will be used automatically. In this case, a caution will be generated. Example: position fallback.